Alright, here we go, episode 3. So what I've done is, as talked about last time, we get the Raspberry Pi up and running now. So this is me remoted into the Raspberry Pi. It is running the web server. So there's not really too much content on the back end of the web server just yet, but it's up and running. I can hit it from my desktop. You can see I'm doing the GET requests here. So we're going to be working on that some more in the future. But for now, let's go ahead and launch where we're at in the top-down RPG game. If you recall, last time we did make some environmental damage and healing type effects. I've gone through and cleaned up a lot of the code, which is kind of be the basis of this episode. Is just talking about things that I've done to improve the overall code quality. Since I do think we're going to be getting a second developer involved relatively soon, so I wanted to make sure to get everything kind of skeletonized in an appropriate shareable way. So here we go, it is loading. Not doing any music this time because I'm getting tired of YouTube being obnoxious, essentially. I found a bunch of fair use music, free, no copyright, and yeah, YouTube still seems to have a fit about it, so forget them. So this is where we left off. Go ahead and play it. So you see we got the hit points in the upper left still. We can set our home point with the gold cube, so I can go back over here, set it to this side, and I'll return there. And this is the insta-kill cube, so we take our hit points to 0. I believe this is the complete heal cube, yep. And this is the accumulating damage one. And this is the accumulating health one. And what you'll notice is I shouldn't heal over 100, and I also shouldn't take damage below 0. And I'll show you why that is. We've essentially done some code cleanup, as I talked about. So let's go ahead and bust that open, and it is going to be in my blueprints. I've made a character base blueprint, so player characters and non-player characters are going to inherit from this class. We've defined some functions. So we've got a check over health and check death, as well as some calculate stats, complete heal, take fatal damage, and take damage. So a lot of these should sound relatively familiar, but I can go in and show you the check death. So all it does is it checks our modified stats, gets our current hit points. If it's less than 0, then we're going to set our current hit points to 0. That's where we don't go below 0. And we're going to set the flags that we're dying and we're dead. Okay, so we'll uncheck we're dying once we get into the animation blueprint stuff. Check over health, pretty much the same thing. We get a reference to our modified stats, and we look to see if our current hit points are greater than our base hit points. If that's true, we're going to just set our current hit points back to our base hit points, right? So if I have 100 max hit points and it heals me up to 150, we're going to just take that and drop it back down to 100, which is the base hit points. And then take damage. So at the end of every take damage, we're going to call check health. And I think at the end of every heal, we're also going to call check health. So check health. I should be calling check over health instead of check health here. So I want to call check over health instead of check health. Probably should do both or combine them into one function, but that's just how it is for now. Complete heal, again, sets our current hit points to our base hit points. So that's kind of where we've modified everything. I decided to break apart the character structure and go for a more simple approach where we have our base stats. So as we level up or unlock more base stats through various other progression mechanisms, we can modify our base stats. And our modified stats are going to be the stats post any sort of buff or debuff or item modification of our stats. That's going to be calculated in the mod stats, right? So base stats is like, well, I get something that permanently gives me 20 more hit points and 5 strength, right? So I'm going to use that item, pretend it's a consumable for now, and I permanently get those stats set to my base stats. So that's why that is how it is. And I don't really like how I just kind of start off in the game here. So I know I've said that we're going to make some more UIs. Might as well go ahead and do that now. But first, I want to create a new folder. And this new folder is going to be for our maps. So what we're going to do in here is create another level. We're going to call it Splash. Right, and then I'm going to make another new level, and I'm going to call it Login. Right, so now when the game first loads, we'll load a Splash level. Let me save all levels here, and I can also make a what are they called? Composite level or let me see what these are actually called. Essentially a level that can contain multiple levels. Streaming level, that's what they're called in Unreal. Create a streaming level to where I only have to load different segments of the level at a time. So I can launch the game, it only loads the login, or the splash screen rather, and while the splash screen is going, this is, there's more than one reason to have a splash screen in games. So while the splash screen is rendering, so say it's only half a second, instead of the player getting the experience of just total blackness, unresponsive interface, that sort of thing, we can display some sort of animated graphic that says, hey, this is our company, this is who produced this game, all these things, and then while all that's happening in the background, we're loading up another level, right? So that's kind of why I do this. So on the splash screen, what we can do is we can open up the level blueprint, and whenever we begin playing, we're just going to go ahead and load a level. I think it's called open, actually. Open level. Right, so until I convert it to a streaming, we'll just go this way. We'll go login, pile that. Okay, and then I want to open up the login level. Yeah, we'll save everything there. And we'll create a quick little user interface that just has a simple login button. Login. And we'll just go with a button. And I want this thing to be anchored dead center. So we'll have our position X and Y be there. But we want the size to be a little bit bigger. So we'll make it 200 by 120. Actually, we'll make it 300 by 120. And then our position X is going to be half of our X, so negative 150, right? And our position Y, we'll leave it, actually, we'll expand it down a little bit, so it's slightly off-centered, right? So we'll make it 250, maybe. That looks good. And then we'll drop a text object right in the middle here, and we'll just say login. And then we can bind on release. When we release this button, we're going to load. Sorry, it's not a streaming level yet. We are going to open, and the name of this default map is top-down example map. So that is what we will load for now. Top-down example map. Okay, so when we hit the login button, we should load our top-down example map. I want to change the color of this text. We'll make it black for now. Okay, oh, can I change the style of this button? No, doesn't look like it's very friendly to change right now. Oh, I can tint it, I guess. Yeah, we'll tint it. Little teal color. Teal is a good color. All right, and then one last thing that we need to do. Ooh. Let's go ahead and close out of all this. We need to change our game's default settings. Whoa, I hit Marketplace. To where it has the splash screen load as the default level, right? So that's going to be in here somewhere. We'll just hit all settings and we'll search for level. Nope. Maybe it's under map. Might be starting map or something, yeah. So editor startup map. I do want the editor still to start up in that, but the default game map is going to be Splash now, right? So we'll leave it like that until I get it configured to a streaming setup. And we'll save all. And just to show you that when I open the editor, so right now I have, what map is this? So we'll open the level blueprint. Right now I'm in login. So we'll close the editor here and relaunch our engine. And it shows the thumbnail preview, which I'll actually create a new thumbnail for it at some point, as being kind of like the last snapshot that the engine took. But when the engine loads now, it still should put me in the default top-down level where we had the cubes that have the various interactions where we can heal and kill ourselves and whatnot. But when I hit play, it should go splash screen, login. Well, maybe I have to do a standalone game for that. It might just play whatever map I have open still. Well, we'll see. Nope, it just continues to play whatever map I have open. Oh, this is no bueno. So I'll go ahead and just default open the splash screen so we get the actual effect here. You know what's happening? I have set the interfaces a little wonky. So let me load up the top-down character blueprint here, which this might be where I'm loading that actual interface. No, it doesn't look like it. Do I load it in the character base? Might be in the event graph. Oh, check health does check death and check over health. Okay. That's a custom event. I need to be calling that. So where are we adding that interface to our character? I have forgotten. Oh, it's probably in the character controller. That's probably where it is. Yep, sure is. All right, well, let's just cut these. And let's put that in our top-down character here. And we'll put it on our begin play. And can we paste? Yep. And we'll just connect this up like so. First thing I want to do though is clean my viewport. So I can remove all widgets from the viewport first. And then I'll create these new widgets. And we need to get our controller here. Player controller reference. Okay, well, I thought that would have been compatible. We'll get player controller. And we'll just assume we're character 0 for now. Alright, that looks okay. And then I'm gonna wanna kind of copy this stuff again. And go back into our login. We'll save everything. And then in our login blueprint, let's open the level blueprint. When we begin play, kind of something similar here. Remove all of the current widgets we have, just in case we do decide something needs to be on the splash screen. So we clean that up, and then we're going to create the login interface. Okay. Now when I load up the splash, save all that, and we should be able to play it. There we go. So we went splash, straight to login, then we got a login button, we hit it, and then we load into our top-down map. So that's kind of the basics on how very simple non-streaming levels work in Unreal. So we're still at the splash screen. Just to show you something else here, we'll open the level blueprint. We'll go ahead and put this on a delay. And we'll say we want our splash screen to last 1 second. And we'll play that. Oh, let me get this out of the way so you can actually see it. So I know what's happening here. We, if you noticed, we do have a little green blip of a cursor at one point. And that's because we're probably still spawning a character. But let's go ahead and just clean up the interface anyway. Remove all widgets from our viewport here on the splash level. And that's, I'll show you why this is most likely happening. I'll troubleshoot it a little further. But if we go to our default game mode information, see, we have a, well, my guess is we're spawning a player character because there's nothing to possess, right? So what I'll do is we'll spawn a spectator. Well, I might need to create a spectator. So I'm going to go ahead and create a spectator class. And we'll go all classes. Create a spectator pawn. And we're just going to call it, we'll call it spectator base. And we're in our splash, so I'll drop a, well, should have dropped a default here. Oh, can I put it in here? No. Not sure why I can't put that out there, but it still kind of works. There's our splash. Go to the login. Now we log in. And that's all we're going to do this time.